El Señor es mi bastión, mi baluarte y salvación, es mi Dios, es mi Dios, mi escudo y defensor, Salvador que libra hoy, es mi Dios, es mi Dios. El Señor me premia por mi conducta y mi valor, es mi Dios, es mi Dios. Te alabaré, Señor, te alabaré, Señor. El Señor me premia por mi conducta y mi valor, es mi Dios, es mi Dios. Alabaré, Señor. El Señor es mi bastión, mi baluarte y salvación, es mi Dios, es mi Dios, mi escudo y defensor, Salvador que libra hoy, es mi Dios, es mi Dios. El Señor me premia por mi conducta y mi valor, es mi Dios, es mi Dios. Te alabaré, Señor. One, two, 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 two. There it goes. Now you can hear me, right? One, two, 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 two. Now you can hear me okay? Yes, 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 yes. Let's see. Try it again. Audio, audio, audio. Yes. Okay, there it is. Sorry about that, guys. So let me go back and do this again. So I want to talk to you, as I said, about, thank you so much for the thumbs up. Thank you, guys. So I was talking about, thank you, by the way, to Arcelio, Gary, Marcos. Nice to have you guys here this morning. So talking this morning about why I still believe in God, why I still believe in the Bible, in the church, in Jesus, even though so many people don't. So I was saying that just because you might be a Christian or around the things of God, it doesn't mean that you still believe. A lot of people go to church that just simply don't believe anymore. They go to church almost to enjoy the people, excuse me, enjoy maybe the traditions, to hold on to their past. Excuse me, I have a bad cold, but thankfully I won't pass it on to you. Now, also, let me say another thing is that just because I'm a pastor or you have other pastors or people that you follow, it doesn't mean that they don't. Thank you, Arcelio. Thank you, Johanse. Welcome. It doesn't mean that they don't go through doubt. So don't be surprised, I'm sure you're not, that spiritual leaders go through times where they doubt. Now, let me say another thing. I don't think doubt is bad. Anything, I mean, have you ever doubted, let's just get real here, your marriage? Have you ever doubted, like, did I marry the right person? Am I in the right relationship? Of course we all do, right? And then you have things you go through and blah, blah, blah. So when it comes to my faith, and then I want to tell you why, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I still believe. I remember in my late 30s, maybe it was more my mid 30s, I went through a time when I really tried to not believe. You might think that's really weird. I really tried not to believe because I remember hearing this guy, Bill Maher, who's still on TV. He would say about his faith or his lack of faith, he would say, come on now, a talking snake? Like, seriously. And so you have a lot of people that, whether religious or not, left or right, it doesn't really matter, that question their faith. And I went through that time when I was questioning, is this real? And so I want to first just say this, that for you to question your faith and your belief is the only way that you're going to remain true to your faith. If you have never gone through some sort of test of your faith, now either you are someone who believes very easily, and so that's fine. There are a lot of people that never question anything, not just their faith. But for the rest of us, you either are hiding it perhaps from yourself, from God, from your friends, or you have just moved away from the church and you are now gone from the things of God, or you have your own kind of version of faith, right? So first, let me just say that that is what happens to a lot of people. When I went through my crisis of faith, it really wasn't a result of any tragedy or crisis. It was, I'm a learned man. I've been to school. I know a lot. I read a ton, like many of you. And I think I was just going through a time where I thought, this really doesn't make a lot of sense. The miracles, as I said, is God really here? Is he really present? So let me say that even though people, another thing, let me say before I get into the reasons why I now believe, or I continue to believe, another reason why people come out of faith is because they have gone through some crisis where God wasn't there. That as I talk to a ton of young people, especially people in their 20s and 30s, millennials or post-millennials, they are not stuck with those traditions. And so when pain comes into their lives, they lose a loved one, parents go through a divorce, they get bullied at school, they question, where was God? Or a lot of young people, they will say that they've moved past Christianity, that it's no longer for them. And they will point towards how the church is against homosexuality, how the church is against a lot of the things that young people today consider a lack of love, right? So that's some of the reasons why. I would love to know what your reason is. A lot of people have their own reasons, right? So, um, why do I continue to believe? Well, this goes way beyond because I'm supposed to, because I should. To me, what it comes down to is the following. First, I believe that there is a problem that we have as humans called a crisis, called brokenness. Even though, as my hair guy, the guy who cuts my hair, even though he tells me everyone is good, I said to him, "Have you ever gotten into a fight with your wife?" He's like, yeah. Even though everyone would like to believe that we are all good, all you have to do is point towards your neighbor, point towards how you feel about, let's say, your husband or your wife, or how they feel about you. All you have to do is look at the reality of life, and you will realize that there is so much brokenness in this world. You might think, well, that's obvious. Well, a lot of people actually believe that we're so good that we could never do anything wrong. I don't know. I don't understand people like that. But people do believe that, hey, we're all good people. And I think it really speaks to how they want to believe about themselves. They want to think that I don't have a problem. I'm good. There's no need for I'm fine. There's no problem here. Everyone is doing well. And so that I think is a great fallacy. So when you start with that, you're going to always struggle to even need or want help from God. And so you have to understand that there is a problem in this world. You can call it evil. You can call it, the Bible obviously, or Christians call it sin. You don't like the word sin? I had a friend who was a PhD in religion from USC where I used to work there at the church on campus. And he would say, Trig, I don't call it sin. I call it, there's a crisis in my life. I thought, you don't like the word sin because it's too religious? Have you experienced a crisis in your life? Of course, right? Everyone deals with a crisis. And so the reason why I continue to believe in God, number one, is because there's still a crisis that we have to deal with in this world. Personal crises in the world, whether it's the economy, the politics, how people treat each other, what's happening with Russia and North Korea, whatever it may be. Even creation itself, and the Bible says this, is going through a crisis. When you feel so scared of hurricanes or of earthquakes or things like that, right? And so, welcome, by the way, to Johanse, to Nubia, to Kenya. Nice to have you guys here. Also, Arcelio, Gary, Marcos, nice to have you. Thank you guys for being here. So, we're talking about reasons why I still believe in God. So first, because there's a crisis that you cannot disregard. You cannot just simply ignore. So then second, I believe in God still because now I have a friend, let me say this, that doesn't believe in miracles. He's like, come on, Trig. A man that walked on water, a man that died and rose again, like how can that possibly be? Okay, so people that are not into the metaphysical, they're more philosophers or atheists or agnostics, right? They think, come on, there is no way to know. So that would be another group of people that say, well, there's no way to know. You can't know what you don't know. That's called agnosticism, against knowledge, right? So what I would say to number two, I believe in God because first, there's a crisis. And I don't want to live in that crisis anymore. Number two, because even if, let's just say this, even if the miracles aren't true, even if the Bible isn't accurate, even if evolution and creation, even if they're both not real, okay, let me just play devil's advocate, right? Even if those things aren't true, the fact that a man came from heaven, or just came, was born, Jesus, and claimed to be God, and all that we hear and see in the Bible, regardless whether you believe in all of it or not, we believe historically that this man was crucified because he went around telling people that he was God. That's the reason why the historical Jesus was crucified, because he went around telling people that he was divine. Okay, as C.S. Lewis says, either he was a liar, a lunatic, or I forget the third one. He was Lord. So he went around telling people that he was God. Now, a lot of people have done that, right? Okay. But here's the whole thing. If God, you say, well, I don't believe in God. Okay. Let's say you don't believe in God. If a man was born and existed and lived called Jesus, who healed people, who was kind, all this stuff, but he himself claimed to be God, isn't that the most amazing possibility ever? That whatever you call the universe, the divine, whatever you consider love, whatever you call hope, whatever you call peace in this world, let's say you don't believe in God. But if you long for love and hope, and this man who was historical claimed to be the essence of love and the essence of peace and of grace and of kindness. And then this man goes around healing people. He goes around loving the least of these. And then he dies on a cross. And he himself says that he's dying on a cross for your forgiveness. And he's saying that the God of the universe is in him, in fact, is him. And so because of the crisis in your life, he is willing to take that crisis, and because he is God, to forgive, erase, delete, remove that crisis in your life. It's an amazing, amazing story. It's an amazing proposition. It's an amazing proposition for somebody to claim to forgive and to repair. Forget, you don't like the word forgive? I mean, I love the word forgiveness. Who doesn't want to be forgiven? You don't like the idea of sin and forgiveness and a cross and all of that stuff? If anybody claimed, if anyone in your life right now came and said, I can restore your life, all of the crises, all of the brokenness, all of the pain, your broken relationships, the times you have failed, all your regrets, I can, because I am from the divine. If you believe, follow, if you want to experience my love and who I am and have me in you, if you want that, you can have it. Why wouldn't you want that? Who wouldn't want that? All of us would long for that. How can you not believe, is what I keep thinking, in a man that claimed to be God, who wants to repair the pain and the brokenness in your life. And not only repair it, but then do something beautiful, make something new. And all of us who know the Bible, you know all the verses. He wants to make you into a new creation. The old has passed, the new has come. That is his claim. No one, excuse me, I have a bad cold. No one else claimed such a feat. To be God, to be able to forgive and repair your crisis. You say, well, how can he do that? Because he is God, because he is the essence of love. You don't want to think of God. You don't believe in God. You don't believe that God is even real. When you see someone do a good thing, when you see someone open a door for an elderly person, when you see your parents, let's say, love your kids, their grandparents, when you see a kind act, aren't you inspired by that? Of course we all are. We're all inspired by those acts of kindness. We all want to be like those people, right? Imagine having God, or the essence of love, okay? You don't want to call it God. The essence of love. If you believe that there is love out there in you, in people, of course there is, right? And imagine a man, a human, embodying, claiming to be the essence of love. And him saying, I can put that love in your heart. Follow me. Be like me. I will repair. I can repair the crises in your life. The broken marriage, the broken disease, the pain that you've been through. And I will be with you, as he said, till the end of time. And then not only does he claim that, but then he claims to give you hope even for the afterlife. You may say, well, I don't believe in the afterlife. Of course, no one is certain that there's an afterlife. I give you that. No one has been to heaven and back, or hell and back, right? But let's just for the sake of argument, eliminate the afterlife. Do you believe that our souls are eternal? Do you believe that who we are is more than just flesh and bones? Now, let me take it further. Let's say there is no afterlife. Who among us would not want peace today in the middle of this crazy world? Who wouldn't want peace? Who wouldn't want love? Who wouldn't want kindness? Who wouldn't want acceptance, adoption? All of us would want that, even if there is no afterlife. You don't want to think of faith as something for the afterlife? That's fine. Who wouldn't want mercy and compassion today in the way you're living your life right now? And if this man, Jesus, claimed, as his history says, to be the essence of love, wouldn't it make sense to believe, to follow, to model our lives after this man who claimed to be God? And so when I went through my crisis of faith, or simply, just when I tried to not believe, as I said, in my mid-30s, I couldn't get away. Even though there were a lot of things that I had to get rid of, I think that for you to be faithful to your faith, you have to shed a ton of stuff. You really do. Not everyone goes through this. Some people, they never doubt. They never question anything. Not just their faith. They don't question anything in life. Those people, I think, are gifted, or they have the gift of faith. And so this may not be for you, but for the rest of us who question everything, or we want to believe in something that is still relevant to us today. Or if you're someone who has left and you are still intrigued by the faith of your youth, this is for you. So I said 3 reasons why I still believe. Number 1 is because there's still a crisis that I cannot repair on my own. Number 2, because a man named Jesus claimed to be God and claimed to be the embodiment of love, and claimed to repair that crisis, claimed to have the ability to repair that crisis in your life. And then 3rd, because if this man who claimed to repair and to fix the crisis in your life went as far as to die, went as far as to give his life, went as far as to say that he will continue to help you and will be with you even to this very moment, then as I looked at all those things, I thought, even if this isn't true, even if there was no virgin birth, even if it wasn't 7 literal days, even if all of those things are non-existent, here's what I'm going to say. You take away everything, including this good or is this not right, or all the arguments that people have about church and the religious right and the left and all these arguments, or if you're in another part of the world, you may think it differently. You may think more of where was God when my mother died or when my boyfriend left or whatever the crisis has been. You take away all of that, and I'm not disregarding that, I'm not minimizing that, but you take away all of that and you simply look at the claims of this man. I just couldn't get away from it. I thought, man, I need this. And I'm not an apologist. I'm not the most linear thinker in terms of argument after argument on why you should believe. There are people out there, online of course, that are much more, that just think more that way, more clearly perhaps, as far as arguments. If you have those arguments, go search online, apologetics, R.C. Sproul, who just passed away, a ton of amazing people that you can listen to about the arguments. But from what I'm trying to give you is more of a logical and experiential path back to God. As I said, three things. I can't get rid of the crisis. It's still there. Doesn't matter how good I am, how positive I try to be. There's still a crisis in me and everywhere else. Number two, the claims of this man, I just can't get away from them. He claimed to be God, to be love, to be the essence of kindness. He claimed to be God. He didn't claim just to simply be another nice man or a good prophet. He's not the next to last prophet. He's not your homie. He's not just another man. He claimed to be God. As C.S. Lewis said, he either was a liar, a lunatic, or Lord. And then lastly, he changed people's lives. He continues to this day to change people's lives. And so, and as I said, lastly, if you take everything away, everything, any argument that you have, pain, doubt, theological obstacle, evolution, homosexuality, if you take away all of the, quote, issues that you may have with God, the church, the Bible, Jesus, and you go back to the essence of crisis, of love, and of hope, of crisis, of love, or forgiveness, as the Bible calls it, restoration, I think is a better word, of crisis, let me even go back to the beginning, of Eden, or in other words, the original plan, intimacy with God, crisis, restoration, forgiveness, mercy, and then eternal hope. I mean, if you think of those four pillars, there is nothing in this world. Nothing, no one, no drug, no law of attraction, no positive mindset, no quotable quotes online or on Instagram that can promise you or even come close to giving you the fullness of hope that faith in Jesus gives you. There is just no other, there is nothing else in this world. Some people get into drugs. They go to the experiential to try to find themselves. Some people go to law of attraction, into third wave or third eye thinking, new age as it used to be called. Now it's, I don't know what it's called now, law of attraction and the secret and all of that world that is, it's basically Buddhism just repackaged in a positive mindset, self-help kind of modern YouTube online religion, as I call it. It doesn't matter what you are doing, whatever you are following. You might be following just your own heart, right? A lot of people say, I'm just good to everyone. If you're good to everyone, what do you do with that crisis in your life when you are not good to everyone? Like I told as I said, the guy who cuts my hair, he's cutting my hair, and I'm telling him about God and Jesus, and he's like, well, I believe that everyone is good. I said, oh, really? How are you and your neighbor getting along? He's like, yeah, I hate his butt. He didn't say butt, but it doesn't matter how hard we try to think that everyone is good or that you are good. And it's not just Hitler. We all go to like the worst case scenario. It's not just 9/11. We're talking about day-to-day life. Maybe I'll wrap up with this story. I had a friend. She's actually my doctor. I call her my friend because we get along. You know how you are with your doctors. And so she believed in the Baha'i religion. And the Baha'i faith believes that everyone is good, that we as humans need to come together, be one, and that the oneness of man eventually will conquer all. And so I was telling her about Jesus. We're talking about God. And she was telling me about her faith. But then, I don't know, out of nowhere, she said, I get bullied here a lot at work. I said, did you say bullied? I mean, you're like 55 years old. She's like, yeah. I think she was from an Indian background. She had a pretty heavy accent. She's a doctor, okay? She's a respected woman in her profession. She had only been at this office maybe, I think, 3 months. And she was telling me how the other nurses bully her, talk behind her back, gossip, say mean things. And she said, I feel horrible. I feel like quitting. I feel like quitting. I mean, this lady, this doctor, was basically in tears right there in the office. Her faith, her mental construct of saying everyone is good was falling apart. Her belief that humanity is just going to come together just because we all love each other was falling apart. It wasn't what was happening in her office. I told her about Jesus, about true love, about the crisis in our lives, and she believed in Jesus right there and then. She believed in the Savior in her own office, or in the little, whatever, the patient's room. As I'm sitting on this couch, wherever those things are called, with a funny white paper, and as she's typing in her computer and she's got tears running down her eyes, she believes in the Savior. And she literally, like the Samaritan woman, went outside, going up and down the hallway, telling everyone about me, about this man, this pastor who helped her believe in love once again. This is a true story. And so anytime that you and I may think, oh, I'm going to just love people, what are you doing with the hate that you feel? Anytime that you think, oh, I tried church, and where was God when this and this and this happened? Get rid of that. Simply ask yourself, what am I going to do with the pain in my life? Who can help me take away this knot in my stomach? Only Jesus. You want something to believe in that will help you restore your hope in humanity? Only Jesus. You hate the church because it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. Find another one. There are a ton of great churches out there, and there are some bad ones. Stop blaming everyone else for your own problems. Believe in God. Put your faith in Jesus. Find the right church. Read the Bible. It is filled with hope. Are there contradictions? Are there things that aren't true? I'm not, as I said, an expert in apologetics, but even if there are, even if the Bible isn't what people tell you it is, go back to the essence of who you once were, of how things were supposed to be, the crisis that there is in this world, in you and us and everyone. The man who claimed to forgive and to restore hope back into your life, and then the one who is even so bold to say that in the afterlife, if there is one, you can even put that in there. I believe there is, but if you don't, if there is one, he even claims to give you hope for even the afterlife. I mean, nothing else like it. Sign me up. I'm done. I'm sold. So I hope that these things help you. Let me go back here and see if there are any comments here. Thank you guys on, let's see, on Periscope. We have a few people there on YouTube. Nice to have you guys. Wonderful. Also, nice to see people on different places, Periscope, YouTube. So once again, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope that these brief moments have helped you at least to consider some of the things that you may have been struggling with for years, for months. I know that these things are not easy, but I think also they are important to consider. So thanks again, guys. Thank you for your time. Please share this video if you found it helpful. And hasta la vista. Adiós.
El Señor es mi bastión, mi baluarte y salvación.